All right, welcome to part two. We're going way beyond the whole make money from home cliche. Today, we're actually building the blueprint for something real, something that compounds. We're talking about real wealth for 2026. Okay, let's get right into it. First things first, we got to be honest about what we're actually chasing here. When someone says they want to make money from home, is it really about the money? Or is money just the vehicle to get somewhere else? Because what you really want, deep down, are these things right here. Control over your own schedule, the security that comes from not depending on a single paycheck, the freedom to make your own choices. And let's be real, for a lot of us, it's about an escape from a job or a situation that's just not cutting it anymore. Knowing this is the real starting line. But here is the very first trap that almost everyone falls into. They start making a little money online and they treat it like they just hit the lottery. They immediately upgrade their lifestyle, their spending goes up, and all of a sudden, all that financial pressure they were trying to escape, it's right back on top of them. They're back at square one. So the first big strategic move we need to make is this. We have to build margin, not more stress. This isn't about just replacing your job's income. It's about replacing your dependency on that income by creating a buffer, a real financial cushion first. Let's just look at the raw numbers here. Say your expenses are $3,000 a month. If you start making $3,000 a month online and quit your job, you're not free. You're actually in what I call the survival trap. Every single dollar has a job, there's zero room for error, and that constant pressure, man, it just crushes your ability to think clearly and perform. Now check this out. This is the leverage move. Same expenses, $3,000, but you build your online income up to $5,000 a month before you make a big change. That creates a $2,000 strategic margin. And that margin, that is everything. That's your breathing room. It's the money that buys you time to think, time to learn, and the space you absolutely need to scale this thing up. And that margin you've just built, that becomes the fuel for our second core idea, which is absolutely critical for 2026, the skill stack strategy. So what is skill stacking? Look at this table. Being an average copywriter might get you a couple thousand a month, same for being an average video editor. But what happens when you can do both? What if you can write a great script, edit a compelling video, and you understand YouTube analytics? Well, you're not just a freelancer anymore. You've become a full-on channel operator. And as you can see, that combined skill set commands a completely different level of income. This is the mindset shift that changes the whole game. Stop trying to be the number one best person in a super crowded field. It's exhausting, and the odds are against you. Instead, aim to be rare. Combine a few valuable skills, and you create a category of one. That's where the real value is. Okay, but even the rarest, most amazing skills in the world are totally useless if nobody knows you have them. And this brings us to our third pillar, the distribution imperative. Because talent, by itself, is not enough to get paid. I'll say that again. Talent is not enough. Distribution is just a fancy business word for one simple thing, attention. And you build it by showing up consistently on platforms like these. YouTube, an email list, X, short-form video, whatever it is. The logic is brutally simple. If nobody can see you, nobody can pay you. Period. Now, I get it. Putting yourself out there is uncomfortable. It opens you up to judgment, and that's scary. But let's just reframe that fear for a second. Instead of asking, what if people judge me? I want you to ask yourself a different question. What if staying invisible costs me 5 years of opportunity? Because that, my friends, is a much, much higher price to pay. Okay, let's get practical. Let's take a big, scary, intimidating goal like making $10,000 in a single month. We're going to strip away all the hype and the magic and just break it down into simple, boring math. So, how do you make 10 grand? Well, if you have a service package that you can charge, say, $2,500 for, you just need 4 clients. That's it. Suddenly, that big number doesn't seem so impossible, does it? It's just 4 people saying yes. But how do you get those 4 clients? Well, this is what the work actually looks like. If we work backwards and assume you close about 20% of your serious conversations, you need to have about 20 of those. And to get those 20 real conversations, you might need to send somewhere between 100 and 150 targeted messages. See? This isn't luck. It's a predictable numbers game. The problem is most people quit before the numbers have a chance to work in their favor. And this is how you have to start thinking about rejection. I know it feels personal, but it's not. It is just data. If you can reframe it in your head like this, if you know that for every, say, 33 no's you get, you're that much closer to a yes, then outreach stops being an emotional roller coaster and it just becomes a mechanical process. You're just working the system. Now, let's zoom out and look at the whole journey. It's a ladder, not an elevator. You start at step 1, freelancing to get stability. Then you climb to step 2, becoming that skilled operator we talked about. From there, you build leverage with an agency or digital products. And finally, you become an asset owner. The single biggest mistake I see people make is they try to jump from the ground floor straight to the top. You have to climb the ladder, one rung at a time. Okay, here it is. The elephant in the room. The big question that's hanging over absolutely everything we're talking about, right? What happens when AI can just do all of this? And look, it's a totally valid concern, but the answer is actually way more optimistic than you might think. Here's the deal. AI is getting incredibly good at execution, at the doing of the tasks. But what it cannot replace, what it will never replace, are these uniquely human things. High-level strategy, real human trust, a strong brand, and genuine relationships. So your job in this new era isn't to be the best doer. It's to be the thinker, the strategist, the person who guides the tools. So let's make this super practical. Right now, here's a 90-day plan to get you off the starting block. Week 1, that's it. Just choose one path and commit. Stop jumping around. Then, for the rest of the month, you just put in an hour or 2 every day to develop that skill. Month 2, you start putting yourself out there. And month 3, you listen to feedback and you track your numbers. Look, you're not going to be rich in 90 days, but you will have clarity and momentum. And honestly, that's priceless. And I want to leave you with a hard truth. Making some money from home in 2026, it's not going to be that special. Lots of people will do it. But you know what will be incredibly rare? Someone who picks one single strategy and sticks with it relentlessly for 12 solid months. That consistency, that's not about being a genius. It's not about luck. That is your ultimate competitive edge. So please, hear me on this. You are not too late to get started. You're not. But you are responsible for taking that first step. The internet isn't saturated. It's filtered. It's designed to filter out the people who lack discipline and consistency. Because here's the thing. 2026 is coming, whether you decide to act or not. This digital economy is only getting faster. The only real question left is, where are you going to be? Are you going to be one of the people who saw this shift happening and adapted early? Or are you going to be one of the people who just watched it all happen from the sidelines? So if you're serious about this, if you're ready to build real income from home in 2026, then hit that subscribe button. Because in part 3, we are going deep. We're breaking down the exact skill paths, ranking them by difficulty, we're looking at the best niches with the highest demand, and we're exposing the critical mistakes that silently kill most people's progress. And before you go, do me a favor, go down to the comments and write, "I'm building leverage." Let's get to work.